Gather close, my friends, for tonight I'll tell you the tale of two children, a dark forest, and a house made not of wood or stone, but of gingerbread and sugar. Yes, it is the story of Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time there was a poor woodcutter who lived with his two children, Hansel and Gretel, and their stepmother. Times were hard, food was scarce, and their bellies often growled with hunger. Now this stepmother, she had a heart as hard as stone. One night, when the children were asleep, she whispered to the father, "There is not enough food for us all. Take the children deep into the forest and leave them there." The father resisted, for he loved his children dearly, but she pressed, and at last his will gave way. But Hansel was a sharp lad. He had overheard their plotting. That night he slipped outside and filled his pockets with white pebbles, shining in the moonlight. When morning came, the stepmother led Hansel and Gretel into the forest, deeper and deeper as they walked. Hansel let the pebbles drop, one by one, making a secret trail home. When night fell, the children were left alone. They waited for the moon to rise, and there the pebbles gleamed like tiny stars on the forest floor. Step by step, the children found their way back home. The stepmother was furious. Again, she demanded the father take them away. This time, Hansel had no chance to gather stones. All he could do was crumble his bread and drop the pieces behind him. But alas, the forest birds came swooping down and gobbled every crumb. When night came, there was no trail left. The children were lost. For 3 days they wandered, weak with hunger. Then, just as all hope was fading, Gretel cried out, "Hansel, look!" Before them stood a little house, but oh, not of timber, not of clay. Its walls were gingerbread, its windows spun from sugar, its roof tiled with chocolate. The children, starving, began to nibble and chew. And then a voice hissed from within,
"Nibble, nibble, little mouse. Who is nibbling at my house?"
The door creaked open, and there stood an old woman, bent with age, leaning on a stick. She smiled sweetly, beckoned them inside, but her smile hid a terrible secret. For this old woman was a witch. She lured the children to fatten them up, and then she devoured them. Hansel was thrown into a cage. Gretel was forced to work, cooking and cleaning. Each day the witch felt Hansel's finger to see if it was growing plump, but clever Hansel held out a chicken bone instead, and the witch, with her poor eyes, was fooled. At last the witch grew impatient.
"Fat or thin, tomorrow I shall eat you."
The next morning the witch ordered Gretel to climb inside the oven to check if it was hot enough. Gretel's heart pounded, but she kept her wits. "I don't know how to climb in, show me," said Gretel. The witch, grumbling, bent down to demonstrate. As quick as lightning, Gretel shoved her inside. She slammed the door shut. The witch shrieked, roared and pounded on the iron door, until at last there was silence. Gretel freed Hansel, tears of joy streaming down their cheeks. They searched the witch's house and found it filled with jewels and gold, more than they could carry. At last, they found their way back home. The wicked stepmother had vanished. Some say she perished the very night that the witch did. And their father, overjoyed, welcomed them back with tears and open arms. And so Hansel and Gretel found their way home, stronger, wiser, and carrying treasure beyond gold. But think about what this tale tells us. The forest, dark, uncertain, and dangerous, is the very place where we grow. To survive, Hansel needed cleverness, Gretel needed courage, and together they overcame a force that wished to consume them. Perhaps this story reminds us the challenges life throws at us, abandonment, fear, even betrayal, are not simply punishments, but tests. Tests that can awaken the strength hidden inside us. Hansel had cunning, but without Gretel's bravery, he would have perished. And Gretel, even though small and afraid, discovered at the moment of greatest danger she could act with decisive power. So maybe the lesson is this: when you walk into the forest of your own life, don't shrink from its shadows, because it is there, in the very heart of darkness, that your true character is forged.